you think about the Eagles prioritizing getting Zach Baun done first?
They don't tend to pay linebackers historically. They don't tend to pay running backs historically. But this is an example of Howie Roseman's approach to roster building that has resulted in a Super Bowl title here most recently.
They make Saquon Barkley the highest paid running back in football. They get a deal done with the one free agent that they clearly were prioritizing here to bring back to Philadelphia in Zach Baun. Myles Garrett to Philadelphia doesn't make a whole lot of sense at this time.
Hey man, a lot said, and I had to, cut around this one, chop this one up. But, Harvey Roseman, I think he has found the secret sauce moving forward that he would like to use in the kitchen. And, I mean, he's damn good at supplying a recipe. So, I mean, free agency, we had a run at it after our 2017 Super Bowl run, and we tried to re-sign everybody, keep all the pieces intact. And you saw how that spectacularly fell apart. We weren't able to challenge really like we should have been. Kept some pieces, held on to some guys that we should have let go and let them get their money. And I really think that Howie Roseman has learned moving forward. And, we have a slew of guys that we can't hold on to. There's Zach Baun, there's Milton Williams, there's Josh Sweat, there's Mekhi Becton, Avonte Maddox, mid-tier, superstar class, solid starters. We have a mix of everything. And you got to prioritize who to hold on to, who to let go, who to be okay with, letting them right off into the sunset and get a, premier contract, and with these two signings, Saquon on the offensive side and Zach Baun on the defensive side, we've identified guys that are pillars to build around. So, this is not to diminish, not to take away from guys like Sweat, guys like Milton Williams, who are key in, us being able to get to the quarterback and not having to blitz at all. That front four did exactly as Vic Fangio designed, and getting to Patrick Mahomes, destroying his rhythm, taking away his comfortability, accelerating the clock in his head. That being said, we have the replacements on the roster. So Milton Williams, he'll be replaced by Moro Ojomo, and Josh Sweat will be replaced by Jalix Hunt. And of course, they're not the caliber of players, that those guys are, but the way you draft, the way you build a roster in the salary cap era, you don't want to be like, Jerry Jones signing Odigi Ozolika to a 4-year, $80 million contract. Milton Williams, you don't have to hold on to that guy. You can let him go because you have a guy who's cheaper. And while you have, the nucleus of your offense signed through 2028, you have young guys on defense who are young enough to not warrant a second contract yet. So you can let the replacements play behind them, or you brought in guys that are on their initial contract, so you can avoid paying them in the interim and try and hold on to a collective group of defensive stars while building around them with people who haven't made it yet to outside the rookie contract. So, there's so much going on, so many moving pieces, but we'll get to Myles Garrett at the latter end of this video. But, Saquon, they didn't have to re-up, on him. Whitey did it, for cash savings, with making him the highest paid running back and extending him early, something that Howie loves to do. Helps us, save that salary cap, have the salary cap savings, and be able to make moves moving forward. And with Zach Baun, we got him on a cheap salary. He was making $3.5 million last year, and we brought in 2 All-Pros, him and Saquon, on each side of the ball, and they were under market value because the league right now is not valuing running backs. We haven't historically either. The league right now is not valuing linebackers. Outside of a few guys, I would say it's better than running back has been, to be honest. But still there's only a handful of guys making those top tier salaries, and Zach Baun now enters the top 5, I believe. I think he's at number 4 with 17 million. But their impacts could not be ignored. Zach Baun, all pro. Saquon and Barkley, obviously all pro. And, you have to hold on to the guys that you can build around on offense, build around on defense. Especially we're in a precarious position with linebacker right now. Outside of Zach Baun, who can you say we have certified? Did you want to replace him with, Oren Burks? Certainly not. That, precipitous drop-off would have happened. Even with, sadly, Nakobe Dean being out of the lineup, Zach Baun was keying us, and then you bring in his pass rushing presence. He made able to drop down to the line, and he played over 150 snaps at, edge as well. And, he impacted the game tremendously there, being that chess piece, that we could have there. You don't want to put the rookie, Jeremiah Trout Jr. into his position yet. He could be, a standout linebacker, but we don't know yet. He played on special teams last year. Nakobe Dean coming off that knee injury, you don't know if he'll ever be the same player. And to be honest with you, I don't see the Eagles, and they play one linebacker. Let's pump our brakes and not think that they're going to pay another one. We might draft his replacement or see what Trotter can do moving forward, but I don't see us extending, unless the numbers are favorable, Nakobe Dean on the second contract. So there's just too many mouths to feed in this kitchen. It's just, it comes down to a numbers game, and you got to be comfortable letting some guys walk, but bringing replacements along, as we talked a little bit earlier. But the priorities they built around them on offense and defense, and Saquon is now part of that nucleus. And then Zach Baun was identified. Vic Fangio identified him. They signed him on the first day of free agency, which is a sign that he was somebody key, even if it was just for secondary role, pass rushing role that we thought he might be in a rotation. He ended up being in a rotation, but he ended up being our main guy in the middle, which was something that not even they knew coming in. Vic just evaluated it, tried him out there, saw what he could do. Going back to Wisconsin, he played out the linebacker positions and ended up being a fit. But he's now a centerpiece in the middle of that defense, the quarterback of your defense, if you will. And we have the corners, you have the safeties, you have the edge rushers, and we'll bring in another steady supply. But Sweat and Milton Williams, they're too expensive, man. And Madden, sure, we're holding on to these guys, but this ain't it, But yeah, the priority was focused on impact over their position, and the historic impact that Zach Baun had on our defense. We haven't seen a linebacker like this since the days of a guy like Jeremiah Trotter. And we redefined the running back, and I love that these moves were made, before the week of free agency. It's like how he's sending a not so subtle message to the league that, hey, we reward you guys. You come here, you show up. We will compensate you fairly. And Saquon, they didn't have to touch his contract. It just speaks volumes about what we're willing to do for the guys that come in and that become our guys. Feels like Saquon's always been here. It feels like Baun's always been here, and obviously they were willing to re-up. Saquon loves being here, and he took a discount. He got that back, and got the title of the highest paid running back. Zach Baun could have made more money, a couple more million on the free agent open market. He chose to to stay here, where they took a gamble on him and won, and he won as well, financially speaking, and as well as getting a ring championship. So most important for me, Howie Roseman learned from his mistakes, and instead of trying to keep everybody, he identified the proud Marines that he wanted to build his program around, and it's going to be huge, for us moving forward. And now perfectly to segue into Myles Garrett. Go check out Philly Film Room. He has a beautiful video knocking down the numbers and explaining everything. How he actually still can pursue Garrett because of the salary cap savings that we have with these two contracts being on the books. Especially the leeway that Saquon Barkley gave us. He talked about extending potentially Dallas Goedert and how that would help us to give us even more savings. Addressing a few other guys. I mean, there's ways to move money around, and Howard Roseman pretty much uses the salary cap like a credit card, and he moves the money into latter years. We have to pay it off, and then how to massage numbers, make them make sense. But Myles Garrett could still be in play. We're still making some room, have some room left, so that we could potentially go and catch that big fish. And you do that, man, it's really a fucking wrap. The defensive versatility that he will give us, and the eyes, attention that will be brought up on him, so that other guys can make moves, can be able to slide protections and stuff like that. Man, Fangio would be doing the happy dance all the way to maybe another bowl. But Myles Garrett, I mean, even given his numbers, he could there's some ways you can salvage things to where his money is moved to the back of the deal, and you're paying him that later, or you have where the money is up front, and it's signing bonus, and then you're able to keep his cap cap number low, similar to what AJ in his contract looks with the salary cap hits, and as well as Jalen Hurts, the salary cap hits. Howie just is a genius at doing this, man. Because this is how he does it. This is how we do it. But one thing is for damn sure. We have the pieces in place, or we're going to put them at least, to build towards trying to establish our own dynasty. But that's a video for another day. Because the truth of the matter is that you're not even watching, but it's all good. Because I love talking about the freaking stinking Philadelphia Eagles, and I love making these videos. So Chunk Deuces officially. But as always, it's fly, Eagles, fly, and let's motherfucking go.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like.
Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.